Hey guys, how's it going? Hope you're doing well. My name is Crown, and today I'm going to read you some very interesting stories that I hope that you're gonna love. And now, without further ado, let's go! We don't own a car and live at the end of a cul-de-sac. I have people use my driveway all the time to turn around. It's not a huge deal to me. It's a little annoying when they compact the snow and it's harder to shovel, but whatever. One of my neighbors had a ride service come pick up their child every day. The van would park in my spot and begin honking at like 8 a.m. I worked nights at a time. Half the time, he'd be half parked on my grass. I told my neighbor that I don't overly mind my spot being used, but not if he's going to honk like that every morning, and especially not if he's going to drive over the little lawn I have every time. She spoke with him, but he ignored it. I spoke with him and got, "What's your problem, man? It's not like you're using it." To which I repeated that I don't mind him using it if he stays off my lawn and doesn't honk every morning. Apparently suggesting he wait till the kid notices he's there, or God forbid he has to drag himself out of the car to knock on a door, was just ridiculous and inhumane of me. So I left a recycle bin at the foot of my driveway and he just ran over it. I called a dispatch for the ride service and was told they are subcontractors and technically self-employed, but they will pass along the message. I wake up the next day to pounding on my door. Dude is pissed. "How dare you call my boss? You stupid piece of crap. What is wrong with you?" Well, it's quite simple. You were told not to use my driveway if you were going to drive on my lawn and wake me up every morning. Now get off my doorstep. I'll sue you if I lose my job because of you. Well, you've been warned. Don't trespass on my driveway or property again. The dude storms off in a huff, spouting obscenities and so on. So this happened on a Thursday. The kids have a PD day the next day. And it's supposed to be one of those delightful Canadian weekends where it drops to like minus 40 Celsius. For my American friends, minus 40 is where Celsius and Fahrenheit meet up. So yeah, it's freaking cold. So that night I grabbed one of my more beat up plastic garbage bins, made sure to plug all the holes with a generous amount of duct tape, stuck a sign on it that read "Private Property, Driveway, Not for Public Use," and proceeded to fill it to the brim with water. Now, before anyone thinks I'm a jerk willing to potentially endanger the other kids in the car, I'd like to point out that my neighbor's kid is the first to be picked up, so it's just him in the car. Cue Monday morning, he sees a garbage can, backs up a bit more, and defiantly charges a garbage can as if to teach me a lesson, causing more pretty serious damage to the front end of his car. The dude gets out fuming, calls the cops, and comes pounding on my door screaming about how I'm going to buy him a new car and that I'm about to be arrested. The cop says, "So let me make sure I understand the situation. He asked you not to park here if you couldn't refrain from honking, then warned you not to park here and put up a barrier, and now you expect him to be charged and pay for damages you caused yourself to your vehicle in an attempt to destroy his own personal property?" I will never forget the look on his face when the officer said, "Yeah, that's not how it works." And then he turned to me and asked me if I wanted to pursue charges for him damaging my personal property. I just gave him the biggest grin I could muster and said, "Nah, I think we're good." I then went back inside to enjoy a morning coffee while watching him from my kitchen window as he paced back and forth in the cold waiting for a tow truck and had to call a company he worked for to explain why they needed to send out another driver to complete his route. More edits for closure. No, I never saw him again. As far as a police officer, I wasn't aware that it wasn't up to me, and he didn't say anything about it either. I assume he really didn't want to have to bother with the paperwork and thought I may have gotten upset if he'd said, "Well, I don't see the need to press charges at this point." So he made it seem like it was my choice. Source, I'm somewhat lazy and would likely do the same. A cul-de-sac can also be used to describe a street with no exit, which exactly where my home is. It is easier for me to use my driveway than to turn their way out like Austin Powers. I was drinking morning coffee because it was 6 p.m. to 2 a.m., so nights, but not quite overnight. And I usually get up at around 10 a.m. Every time he'd wake me up around 8 or so, and I wouldn't be able to get back to sleep. Hence, I needed him to stop. So this story goes back about 5 weeks, and honestly, it's taken me a while to even talk about it. But with my girlfriend's support and the assurance from my family, I feel like it's time to share this insane tale with all of you. You see, I have this skin condition called eczema. It's not pleasant at all. Basically, my skin gets extremely dry and sometimes swells up due to various factors, like what I eat and the weather. My girlfriend is totally fine with it as long as my rash doesn't get too severe. She's been a rock for me during this whole ordeal. It all happened on my birthday, a sunny day when my family and I decided to have a little get-together. My parents thought it would be nice to invite some friends over, and among the guests were my best friend, let's call him ND, and the not-so-friendly entitled parent. Now, I admit the entitled parent a few times before, and it was clear she had a problem with my eczema. She'd once gone on a rant about why I have this condition during a casual conversation. Keep in mind that on that particular day my skin was quite sore and red, so I decided to stay inside to avoid the scorching sun. I told my girlfriend about my plan to stay indoors and she was perfectly okay with it. She decided to keep me company, which I greatly appreciated. Little did I know this day was going to take a bizarre and painful turn. As the family friends arrived, I couldn't help but worry about the entitled parent's reaction to my skin condition, especially since her husband was a doctor. I remember the previous incident where she had tried to pour boiling water on my skin to help me. So with a sense of unease, I ventured out to see if my friend was around. Lo and behold, the entitled parent and her kid, the nice kid, appeared. I asked about my friend and the entitled parent casually mentioned that he had some last-minute stuff to take care of. I was a bit relieved, thinking I could avoid a confrontation about my skin condition. But boy was I wrong. The entitled parent insisted I come outside and join the party. I tried to explain that my skin was acting up, but she wouldn't hear any of it. She kept pushing me to go outside, and eventually I gave in and spent about 10 to 15 minutes out there trying to be polite. But the real drama began when I returned inside to fetch some things for my friend. I called my girlfriend to help me with the items, and to my surprise, the entitled parent volunteered to assist. I thought, well, maybe she's trying to be helpful. I couldn't have been more wrong. A few minutes after taking a break because my skin started to hurt from stretching my arms, I heard a shocking sound. It was the unmistakable sound of a bottle being opened. I turned to see the entitled parent with a bottle in her hand. At first, I assumed she was grabbing some water for herself, but to my horror, she poured the contents of the bottle onto my skin, specifically targeting the areas that were already red and irritated. It didn't take long for the burning pain to set in, and I couldn't hold back my sobs. My girlfriend, who was witnessing this nightmare, immediately confronted the entitled parent. What the hell was that for? He's in so much pain already. Oh, I thought it would make him feel better. What made you think pouring bleach on his skin would make him feel better? His skin is burning. At this point, my girlfriend and I were furious. She rushed me to the hospital where I received treatment in the ER. My girlfriend called my parents and the police. Once my parents arrived, so that the entitled parent and her kid and my friend, who happened to work at the hospital. The entitled parent, trying to save herself, told the police that it was all an accident and she'd mistakenly poured bleach on me. I was seething with anger at this point, but my girlfriend and I told the police everything that had happened, and I insisted on pressing charges. My friend, who had arrived with a co-worker, finally learned what his wife had done. He was shocked and asked for the whole story. I explained everything from the invitation to the bleach incident. My friend kindly gave me a prescription cream to treat my wounds and told my girlfriend to look after me. It was a small act of kindness in the midst of this chaos. I pressed charges against the entitled parent, and I was given a court date for the following week. I'm hoping the entitled parent serves more than just a year in jail for what she did to me. As for my recovery, my arm still hurt a bit, but I'm slowly getting better thanks to the prescription cream and my girlfriend's unwavering support. This incident has left a scar, not just on my skin but in my memory as well. It's a stark reminder of the entitlement and cruelty some people can display, even on a sunny birthday celebration. I was the one whose sister demanded that I pay for a holiday. Here is part 2. So sister-in-law was very disappointed and angry that I didn't bow down to her every whim and pay for a holiday. For those who read my first post know that I'm well off thanks to hard work and some luck. We had some FM flying monkeys come in because of my sister-in-law. Most backed down, understood where we stood, and left us alone. Unfortunately, the whole family of my dear husband now knows that we have a bank account with a lot of cash in it. As sister-in-law had called a lot of family members to complain and spill the beans, they began talking amongst themselves and their children. Some of the aunts, uncles, and cousins didn't think it was fair that I paid for some college funds for some of the children of my cousins and that I paid for a family holiday. To note, I only have college funds for the children of cousins who we have a close relationship with. That's about 6 cousins with around 12 kids. I've been in this family for almost 20 years and I only see the majority of the aunts, uncles, and cousins at the yearly or biannual family reunion if everybody comes. I haven't seen some of them in around 5 to 10 years. A couple of days after the fallout with sister-in-law, they made an ANU call, something they never do. I put my phone on speaker as I was busy folding the laundry. They asked how everything is going, how we were holding up during COVID and such. We exchanged some experiences and then they both go like this. This is the start of the conversation. Listen, we hear you have some college funds set up for some of the children of certain cousins. Is that true? Yes, that's true. Is it true that you took your mother-in-law, father-in-law, sister-in-law 1 and 2 and family with you on holiday? Well, yes. You also have a holiday home, yes? We do, but why do you want and need to know? We never knew you had so much money. Well, a lot of hard work, sacrifices, dedication, and luck were part of it. Well, we have to pay for our grandchildren's college fund as well. And we want to go on a holiday with our children too. We deserve it too. I was shocked. We're family, so you have to pay. Now I'm less shocked. Yes, we want college funds for your 6 grandchildren, each consisting of $800,000, and we want a holiday home like yours but in location X. We already have one we want. We will send you the information. And that also goes for our family holiday. We're family, and since you have a lot of money, you can pay for us too. And now I'm in a state of pissed off silence. They continue to rant that they deserve it because they are family and family takes care of each other. And my husband meanwhile had heard everything and was getting angrier. I had pressed the record button halfway through the conversation and asked them to repeat their demands. I eventually asked them if they had more to say, which they didn't. I just flat out said that it wasn't going to happen. They might think they are entitled to my money, but they aren't. And I quoted the phrase they and many of the family members gave us when Hoppy and I didn't have the money and were in a tight spot because we had a health scare. We asked every family member if we could borrow some money and pay it back. Only 3 of the 9 aunts and uncles helped us, and we paid them back. The quote, "It's your responsibility to have and save each money for the care, well-being, and education of your family. If you can't, then you don't deserve them. We won't be giving you any money." Stunned silence on their side. I told them to relay the message to the rest and not call us with such demands again. Then I hung up the phone, and Hoppy was very proud of me. In the weeks that followed, some of the aunts, uncles, and cousins called with those aunts and uncles who helped us in our time of need and told us to say that it's our money and that they have seen plenty of it and don't ask for more. One cousin called and asked for a certified loan for a down payment on a house. something that I have agreed to, and they had the majority saved but came short of $1,000. They had to pay for it sooner as they could get the house sooner. Just now I saw that I received the first half of it, that also raised hell. Then with my aunts, uncles and cousins, we had a Zoom call and I explained to them my reasons for not doing so. I told them that they could always come when they truly needed financial help, but under legal contracts so that neither party would feel themselves screwed over. A cousin who borrowed money even showed the certified or notarized loan. Most seemed to understand. They are not entirely happy, but they knew they could come for help. But for some, it wasn't. Then came the cherry on top. I came home last week on a weekday to find a lot of parked cars on an otherwise almost empty street. I had to pass my house in order to park somewhere else, and around 15 to 20 aunts, uncles, and cousins had gathered in the front yard. So much for social distancing. Afterwards, there were 3 aunts, 3 uncles, and some cousins and their spouses. I parked the car and walked back home. Now here's something that few people know. I have security cameras around my home that record sound as well. Another thing that few people know, do not mess with me. I'm told that my right hook is very painful, so while walking back, I called a non-emergency line of our local police station. I told them the situation and told them that crab might hit the fan. If they could come and assist in case it got out of hand, they would send some cops. And crab did hit the fan. The moment I stepped inside the people, they started screaming, cursing, and telling me to pay up or they would make sure that I would pay one way or another, all the while cornering me. Some of them poked their fingers close to my face and in my chest and arms. I told them multiple times to stop what they are doing and leave. Sometime through this, more cops were called by some of the neighbors as well, and when they arrived, they were trying to get to me. Then one uncle made a mistake. He slapped me. A man about 6'3" slapped me. A woman of just 5'2" across the face, in full view of the cops. The crowd went silent as he put his face almost to my face. I went on a rant that I had to obey him as one of the elders of the family, all the while with his hand raised as he would slap me again. He couldn't continue his rant. I knocked him to the ground. He stayed down, not unconscious but quite rattled and stunned that I had punched him. This was apparently what the cops needed as well. The family members were stunned, and the cops managed to get them away from me. They were pissed. A couple of the aunts, uncles, and cousins managed to make a run to their cars and drive away. The rest got to meet with some very angry cops, some fines for breaking social distancing rules, and the expectation that charges might be pressed against him as well. To shorten the novel already, I'm fine. I had some bruised fingers and my uncle had a broken cheekbone. My lovely cameras are now in the hands of the DA. The other family members have distanced themselves from the crap that happened. And to be honest, I feel really crappy. I feel like dividing a family because I just don't hand out my money. Puppy says this is money that I worked hard for, so I get to decide what happens with it. Still, I'm thinking of setting some college funds aside for the rest of the children, but I'm doubting that. It would also seem that I don't stand my ground and can't be persuaded with violence, threats and harassment. I am so sick of it. Some answers to your questions. I pressed charges against my uncle for the little love he gave me. Thankfully, my uncle has not filed counter charges for the love I gave him in return. I've been told he asked for anger management courses and a psychological evaluation was out prompt. His statements is that he got carried away and felt he was being egged on. He also wrote that he was extremely sorry and never meant to hurt me. I don't know what to believe, but I know this behavior is out of character for him. He and his wife also contacted my lawyer with a written apology. All those present had to give statements and one red thread emerged. They were there because the aunt and uncle who called me first, the ones from this post, had said they all should see if they could convince me. As for charges concerning the others who were present, my lawyer is looking to see if they can get charges to stick for harassment. He's also looking to see if the instigators can be charged with a number of things. That guy is having a field day. He loved this. Those who were not involved have sent texts, called, and sent me emails telling me that they are sorry for the behavior of their spouse, sibling, or parent. They have not asked me to drop the charges or anything though, just apologies.
And now we have reached the end of today's stories. Thank you for watching and see you next time.